With a sigh, Lynn pushed herself out of bed and hurried to the bathroom. It was 5:30 and the kids would be waking up soon. It was best to get her morning ritual completed before them, or else they would be late. After a shower, she dressed in the pastel pink shirt and skirt that made up the diner's uniform. Like the diner itself, it was also right out of the 50s. Tying her natural wavy hair back in a half-up style, Lynn headed for the kitchen, microwaving sausage biscuits for breakfast. The boys would have 2 each, while Lexi and her mother would be satisfied with 1. Reaching for the milk, Lynn scanned the scant contents of the fridge. Aside from staples like milk, eggs, and butter, the majority was stacked in styrofoam takeout containers from the diner. Gretchen was a kind manager and Lynn felt enormously lucky. When the triplets were babies and up until they started preschool, Gretchen allowed them to accompany Lynn to work when she couldn't find a babysitter. Gretchen even purchased toys and games to keep them occupied during their mother's long shifts. Quite often, the older woman hovered over the toddlers like a protective grandma. Knowing how difficult it was to provide for 3 growing children, Gretchen often gave her the leftover food at the end of the day. She claimed Lynn was doing her a favor, as the food would just be thrown out, but Lynn occasionally found whole meals, burgers, fries, hash browns, and others completely untouched. Though Lynn could never bring herself to ask, she suspected Gretchen made some meals with the expressed purpose of giving them to her and the kids. It was an incredible act of generosity and charity that only worked as long as both parties willfully ignored it. Lynn made use of every charity she could, making regular trips to food pantries, thrift stores, and endured the silent ridicule of human services to receive food stamps. To this day, no one except Tracy knew the truth about the kids' parentage. Gretchen only knew their father was not in the picture, and even their birth certificates listed him as unknown. People drew their own conclusions. Mosty assumed she was some kind of working girl or extremely promiscuous to not know the triplets' father. Lynn didn't bother correcting them, as it would mean revealing the truth. Instead, she endured the shame. "Morning, Mom," Alexis, always the first to rise, greeted. "Morning, sweetie," Lynn said, setting down a plate with her breakfast on it along with a glass of orange juice. With practice ease, Alexis reached the counter and sat down without the need of her cane. In familiar settings she could navigate by memory. As long as the furniture remained in place, she didn't have to worry about bumping things accidentally. Picking up her breakfast sandwich, Alexis munched contentedly. The older she got, the stronger her resemblance to her mother became. Even now, Lynn was certain anyone would recognize her brown hair and green eyes. Luckily, they were far from the circles Lynn used to inhabit when she still went by the name Carlisle. "Morning, Mom." "Morning, Lexi." Theo and Sean yawned as they finally emerged. Just as their sister resembled their mother, the boys looked like miniature versions of their father. If she thought about it too much, she sometimes felt pains of regret and loss. Never wanting to burden her children with her own struggles, Lynn quickly squashed such thoughts. She would not let her genuine love for her babies be tarnished by the infatuation of her youth. If anyone from her past saw the boys, they would certainly make the connection. Even knowing this, though the chance was remote their paths would ever cross. She was no longer part of society's elite, and no one from that circle had reason to explore the dregs of society. "Morning, boys," Lynn chuckled. "Did you get all your homework done?" "Yep. We're good to go." "Good. Oh, Lexi, we have a doctor's appointment today. Don't forget. I'll pick you up from school." "Sure thing, Mom." "That means Tracy will get you boys, all right?" "Yep. No worries." They answered with mouths full of sausage, egg, cheese, and biscuit.